All right, welcome to slope and rate of change notes. We're first going to define slope, and slope is the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change. And this is when you're graphing a line, so it's the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change. Okay, so the vertical change, another way to say that would be the rise. And the horizontal change, another way to say that would be the, yep, you got it, run. Okay, so we could write this as rise over run. Rise over run. Okay, we could also say it was delta y over delta x. Delta is a triangle. It's the Greek letter D for change. It means change. So it's the change in the y's, did I go up or down? The change in the x's, did I go left or right? And if you were in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, which part of the equation is the slope? The m. That shows the change. And that's what it was showing on your graphs. When you were graphing those equations on the previous assignment, you were either going up or down, you were going steep or not steep, and the m controls that, okay? We'll talk about rate of change a little bit later. So let's talk about finding the slope of the line. The slope of the non-vertical line passing through 2 points, so here's our 2 points, we just have it x1, y1, those are sub 1s, and sub 2, they're subscripts, they're a little below the line, is the ratio of the rise to the run, and I could count how many up and over I went, or I could use these points and I could put it into the formula for slope. Which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I would subtract the y values and then subtract the y values. These can go in either order. It could be 2 minus 1 or 1 minus 2, but if you switch the order on top, you have to also have it switch the order on bottom. So the order has to match. So slope is rise over run, same as the notes we did up there, change in y over change in x, delta y over delta x. This one we would say is not very steep and it's going up and to the right. When we look at a line from left to right, like we read a book, this one is going up. That would be a slope going up. Okay, so we're going to look at example 1 on the next page. Example 1 on the next page says find the slope of the line shown. And then what they did is they named the 2 points. So this point right here was -1, 2. And this point right here was 3, 5. So the first way I'm going to show you how to do this is by counting. This is the quick and easy way. If they're going to show you the graph, just count it out. So did I go up or down? Well, from left to right, I'm going up. How many spaces did I go up? I went up 3 spaces. And then I go to the right. How many spaces? I went 1, 2, 3, 4. So if slope is delta y over delta x, what was the change in the y direction? 3. What was the change in the x direction? 4. So the slope of this line is 3/4. Okay? And actually, compared to a 45-degree angle, here's a 45, it's not as steep. Remember, the slope of a 45 is m equals 1. So this is less than 1, so we would say it's not steep. Now I'm going to show you how to do this by plugging in the values here. So this would be, I'm going to write it above, x1, y1, x2, y2. It doesn't matter which one is the 1s and which one is the 2s. You can pick either one to be the 1s and either one to be the 2s, but it's got to go 1, 1, and then 2, 2. So the formula for slope is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and you need to have this guy memorized. He's very important. They've plugged some values in for us, and we're going to plug in the rest. So y2 is 5, minus y1, which is 2, did it for us. x2 is 3, minus x1, which is -1, so it's minus -1 there. So on top I have my 5 minus 2, which is 3. And then I have 3 minus -1, which becomes 3 plus 1, which is 4. So the slope of that line rises from left to right, and the slope is a positive number to prove this. That was a positive number, okay, and it's not that steep. And look, it's 3/4 either way that I got it. Now you would say, why would I ever go through this process? Well, look down here. They're not always going to give you the graph. And instead of graphing it out, it's faster just to use the formula for slope. All right, so what I want you to do right now is pause the video and go ahead and do part B here on your own. Make a prediction though. Is this going to be a steep or not steep graph? Is it going up or down? What's it going to look like? So go ahead and pause. Put your work down here. You can also use the counting method. Okay, so you should have come up with -3 for your slope. The reason why I knew it was -3, first of all, I know it's a negative because this line is going down. When I look at it left to right, it's going down. And as I go in my rise direction, I'm going down 3 or down 6, depending on which one you went to. See this point right here, it crosses nicely at a nice coordinate there, so I could have used him. So my notes here say over 1 and down 3, or if I went down way from this guy all the way to this guy, it was to the right 2 and then down 6. The reason why I needed to use that guy is that's the one they gave us. If you plugged it in to the formula, you would have gotten -6/2, which is -3. The line falls from left to right. The slope is negative. Oops, I'm showing my answers for the bottom down there. Don't look down there. Okay. So, hopefully you got that as a -3. And my prediction, 1 is the 45-degree angle, so here would be a 45. And this is steeper than a 45-degree angle because the absolute value of -3 is bigger than 1. See, this guy was 3/4. I knew it wasn't going to be as steep as 1. As steep as a 45, this guy is less steep. All right, so let's do the checkpoint down at the bottom. So checkpoint number 1, when they just give you ordered pairs, you're going to decide who's going to be the 1s and who's going to be the 2s, and then write the full formula for slope out, because that way it's going to get in your brain. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And now we're going to plug in the values. So it becomes 1 minus -1 and -2 minus -3. So I'm going to change my minus negatives right now. So on top I have 1 plus 1, which is 2. On bottom I have -2 plus 3, which is 1. So the slope of this line is 2. Now, is that a positive or negative number? It's a positive number. So what's the line going to do? It's going to go up. Is this number bigger or less than 1? It's bigger, so it's going to be steep. All right, you go ahead and do number 2. Use the formula, write it out, show your work, and then make your predictions. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video, and here's what we have for this guy. It ended up being -5/11. So my prediction is down, and it's not steep because the absolute value of -5/11 is less than 1. That number is smaller than 1, so it's not going to be as steep. It's going to go down and not as steep, something like that. For every 5 it goes down, it goes 11 to the right. Okie dokie. We're going to have some special graphs, but before we get to these, I'm going to pause the notes because I'm approaching 10 minutes here. So go ahead, take a quick little break, and we'll come back for part 2 of the notes.